Welcome back to Against the Cage. Scott Fontana here with the upcoming UFC Bantamweight title challenger, Cory Sandhagen. Cory, I just found out actually, because we're in mid-September here. I found out this week, September 14, 2012, was your first amateur fight, your amateur MMA debut. So happy
Okay.
anniversary.
Yeah, okay, nice. I did know
A
that.
little
Cool.
bit. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, obviously 13 years in the game now, if you go all the way back to that. Before we dive into everything else, I just want to ask, what do you remember kind of about that experience? You were only 20 years old, I think, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, my first fight, I'm trying to even think who it was as an amateur.
Oh, I
I
had it up
remember,
before.
yeah, I remember I used to get very scared before fighting along in those amateur years. But yeah, I mean that kind of brings me back. It honestly, I remind those years of mine, I really remember like my college years and just how much stuff I missed about college just to be in the
Hmm.
gym training. That was like a really key point or a key time for me to really like hammer in and get a ton of training in before I had to go like do real life, like work a job afterwards. So, yeah, when I think about like my amateur days, I always think about just like cutting weight in college and being in class and cutting weight and walking around campus and cutting weight and seeing the football guys get carted around and me be pissed off about it. Yeah, it was a fun time. I think about it actually like a decent amount because it was just a fun part of my life.
Sure, sure. Damor Ortiz, right? I believe that was the name.
Oh,
I
that's
looked
right.
that
Yeah.
up.
Oh, yeah, it was him. Yeah.
So if I saw it was like 43-second knockout or something.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, actually, yeah, that was my first one. Yeah, that guy was supposed to be really good too, so I'm lucky that that happened that way.
And you passed that test, of course. So, and enough memory lane, because obviously you've got something very big and exciting coming up. Beginning of next month, your first undisputed UFC bantamweight title shot facing Merab Dvalishvili. You've been in title eliminators before. You've had your shot at Peter Yan for the vacant interim belt 4 years ago. Does this opportunity feel like notably different to you than some of these other big fights you've had in the past?
It feels a hair different, honestly. I'm way more excited about it, to be honest. I'm definitely excited for all of the fights, but this one in particular, I notice I'm like really excited for it. I'm like seeing myself wearing the belt, and that's a very surreal feeling to me. I imagine bringing it back home and just kind of daydreaming about what my life is going to look like as a champion because I know that that's like a really unique category to be in, way more unique than just UFC fighter. So that really is bringing me a lot of excitement. I've also noticed a change in my coaches a little bit here where they're really, really dialed in. We always are, but they're really dialed in and they're pushing me a lot harder than I feel like I've been pushed before. And I'm also pushing myself hard too. So yeah, it definitely feels a little bit different, but the fight itself doesn't feel like a fight that's any different. It's just kind of the daydreaming about what changes after winning this one that is exciting, but the fight itself doesn't feel too much different.
When that interim title shot happened, was this the same type of thing where you're also kind of daydreaming about that? Or did that not enter the case that time?
Not as much that time, if I'm reflecting on it, because it was short
Mhm.
notice and I had to really I almost didn't even have time to think about it. I was just like, oh, gotta get in really good shape and lose all of this weight and game plan and do all of this stuff. So that was really like a busy 4 or 5 weeks that I had there. So I don't remember particularly getting super excited about that one just because I feel like I was just so busy in my mind just having to prepare.
A lot more build up to this one, of course. And honestly, the storyline between you and Marab, obviously, it goes back at least a couple years publicly because, and I have to ask you this, do you still have something from Marab that to eat that don't taste good?
I know, yeah. That was me. I look back and I'm like, man, I wonder how many people actually understood that reference just because it was based off of a really funny video of Marab like screaming like, I am very hungry. I am very hungry. And yeah, so I think it's yeah, I still do have something that doesn't taste good.
I like that. Okay, okay, and obviously we'll find out in a couple weeks. Look,
Yeah.
you know that was goofy and intentionally, right? You know, you said at the time I wanted to do something stupid, right? And I think it's still memorable, right? I think sometimes there's that endearingness of kind of going so far in the opposite direction of MMA promotion, right?
Yeah.
But you know, obviously there was that call out, like we said, after Merab or of Merab, after you beat Marlon Cheeto Vera. Do you have any more promotional gold like that to throw Marab's way? I mean, you're doing some videos and stuff now. What about like fight week? You got any lines in there? Or?
No, not really. I don't know. I know the only other press conference I done, there was like six translators and no one knew what was going on because everyone spoke like a bunch of different languages. So, nah, I don't know, man. I know that the press conference is kind of like a big moment for like the fans and stuff. So, I'll fucking do my best, but I'm not gonna be a weirdo. I'm just gonna be myself.
Well, would you say that the original one was being a weirdo or yourself or both?
It was both, but I think in like long form anything, it's hard to be a weirdo for too long for me without like breaking character. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess it's something that has crossed my mind for sure, but uh, you know, Marab's a really respectful guy. I'm a respectful guy. Ankalaev and Pereira don't speak a ton of English, so I don't really know how the press conference is going to go. But yeah, it's just kind of when I think about press conferences, it's just kind of interesting that that's like such a big piece to the promotional piece of it. And it's something that I've gotten a lot better at through the years, but it's still something that just seems like it's on the side versus winning the damn fight, which is the best promotion you can do for yourself. uh, Anyways, so
Right, right. And yeah, I mean, you've over the years, I think a lot of us have understood of you that you are, you know, very much a martial artist, right? Like the fact that you get to do this is through the martial art rather than necessarily becoming like a major star. If maybe I'm being misrepresentation of that, but I mean, is that accurate or?
I mean, becoming a star is just a result of something that I think that that will happen, honestly. But I think that it's going to happen on its own because of how great I know that I can be, how many great more years I still have in the tank of myself, and yeah, I mean, the reason that I really love this fight in particular is because Marab is really put on a pedestal right now. Um, And in typical fashion in the just world of MMA, it is overdone because everyone wants to create, invincible superheroes out of everyone, which is a part of promoting stuff. But Marab's not an unbeatable guy, and I know that I can beat him. And um, the fact that he's put so high on a pedestal is great because it makes me be able to just steal all of that hype from him, and then it just makes my stock go way through the roof even more. I also really like the feeling of I will be in charge of who I fight next and where it's going to be. I don't want to fight Umar and I don't want to fight Petr Yan in the Middle East again. I want to fight them here stateside where they can deal with the travel and all of that stuff. So I'm excited to get those two rematches done too, so that I can kind of, legacy isn't the most important thing to me, but beating Marab, who's again known as one of the greats and put really high on a pedestal, and then being able to go back and beat two of the guys that I know that I definitely can beat, very competitive fights. I do that as a champion, and then I have, like I'm really sitting really nice on accolades and who I've beat and all of that stuff, which I think in the long run with the real fans is what goes the furthest.
You are thinking about this a lot, right? Obviously the
Yeah.
visualizations and stuff, but I can see that you're already plotting out the way things can go for you. And this must be very exciting, right? I mean, obviously you can't count your chickens, but you're having a lot of fun, I can tell with that, the idea, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's exciting. I mean, that excites me a lot too. Speaking of excitement, just the fact that I get to get those two guys back too, is exciting. Umar and Jan, I want to get those back. But then also beating someone, like I said, who um, people are saying is unbeatable and all of this, like That's so not true. Like that's so not true. And I think that Merab does really well by getting people tired and he does really well of wrestling guys. And I think that I've shown in all of my fights that I don't get tired and I don't get out wrestled. So I think that people are going to be really shocked when they see just the skill level that I have because again, Merab is just he has a lot of hype behind him now and I'm better than him.
And obviously you've expressed a lot of interest in the past about putting your style against his. You've liked the idea of how those things would go. I'm not expecting you to give anything away as far as game plan or anything like that. I know that there's some tricks of the trade you'd like to keep to your close to your vest, but you have a great analytical mind for the sport. So I'm curious, as an expert yourself, how would you break down kind of the two styles that you guys bring to the table?
Yeah, I mean, Marab's kind of he's a workhorse, you know. He's not the biggest puncher in the game. His striking's a little bit clunky, but that's okay. He still makes it work. Like there's plenty of guys that I can think of that just make their stuff work. And I think that that's a really sign of a really highly intelligent and really good fighter is just someone that knows where they're good and knows where they're not. And where they're not good, they make it weird and funky and make it work for them. And Marab's really good at that. I mean, it's kind of well known. Merab gets people really tired and he takes them down and wrestles them. But to think that I'm intimidated by the fact that he was able to out wrestle O'Malley by such a big margin is like crazy. Like that doesn't intimidate me. O'Malley is a very good martial artist, of course, but he has put all of his eggs in the basket of being able to knock everyone out in every single one of his fights. And when that doesn't happen, he doesn't really have a ton to fall back on. And that's okay. That's like how he's done things, but I've gone a different route. When I lost to Aljamain, I went through trying to make it so that I'm the most well-rounded guy and can beat everyone everywhere. And that's what I set out to do. And that's where I am right now. And I think that that's really going to pay off big time in this one, just me choosing that route many years ago. And then also Merab gets people really tired. I think that we've done a really, really good job this camp of pushing really hard, but not only pushing really hard, but also being able to fight really smart in certain times, how to fight the takedowns extremely hard and then get right back to striking. Um, and yeah, I mean, outside of those two paths to victory, what is Merab gonna do? Knock me out? Like that's not happening, you know? So this fight is gonna be striking. It's gonna be me defending the shots. And I know that he's been saying that he's gonna strike. That's like that's not true. And if that is true, like that's a horrible idea. Don't do that, Merab. But that's what the fight's gonna be anyways. So yeah, I'm excited for it, man. I think that I got all the tools that I need in order to win this one. And I'm pumped for my stock to shoot through the roof and for me to be in the category of fighter that is champion.
It's funny because I was just about to ask you about the things he said. He was talking at I think MMA Junkie this week. He's like, yeah, I've been working on my striking. I'm looking for the knockout. This fight's gonna be mostly on the feet. We want to exchange punches. And again, that's everything against the book on Merab, right? That you basically just kind of wrote, and we all know that book.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're kind of just like, yeah, you don't want to do that, and you don't buy it, right?
No, I don't. I don't buy. I mean, everyone has a game plan until they start getting punched in the face. You know, like I think that Merab's gonna hit me though. Like he's not a dumbass. Like he'll be able to hit me. Like it's not like I expect to go out there and just tool him by like a mile. You know, like I know that that's not gonna be the case. He's a hard worker and he's developing his game and he has good coaches and all of that stuff too. But I mean, there's a pretty big gap there. And if he wants to test the gap, then cool. It's gonna be a lot easier of a night than I thought it was gonna be.
Merab has been a very active champion. I think he wanted to fight 4 times this year. That's not probably the calculus isn't adding up for that, but he might get pretty close, right? He's been a force in your weight class, obviously for quite a while. Not an invincible force, but even you've given him his flowers over the years, as well. Obviously, you're still one of the few elite 135ers he has not faced yet, and not for lack of trying. But did you guys have any close calls over the years where maybe their fight was possibly going to come together and it just didn't quite happen?
Not to my memory, no.
Hmm. Okay. Well, I mean, obviously now you get that chance to do that. Do you think just because he has been quite a dominant fighter, in the weight class. Not necessarily a longtime champion, but an active one, and again, beating a lot of guys. Do you see a potential where an immediate rematch is going to be kind of on the table?
Potentially, I guess it depends how the fight goes. But yeah, that those are all UFC decisions, man. Like, I go out there and I beat Merab. I mean, if it's like not super clear, then sure. But I want to beat Merab and then go back and beat Umar and Yan and get those ones back.
And of course, we talked again about your visualization and kind of thinking about allowing yourself to feel, hey, maybe this is what the world will look like on the other side of winning that championship. But have you thought about how maybe your approach or to the game, or maybe how your goals could maybe change once that gold is around your waist?
Yeah, potentially. I have, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I know that it's gonna open a lot of doors, and that'll be really cool because, uh, yeah, it'll open some doors. But I guess, I
Are
don't
there
think it's
doors you want to go through?
potentially. At least I'll have the doors there.
Mhm.
I think that saying no will probably be a lot maybe easier or harder to stuff. But my day and day life, I don't think will change a ton. I'll probably have to travel maybe a little bit more and go do shit more than I'd maybe like to. But no, I don't really think it's gonna like bring me fulfillment or happiness or anything like that. It will just kind of be a cool feeling to have set out for such a huge giant goal and then be able to say that I did it. And then again, just put myself in a category of fighter that's champion. That's a big deal.
It was just reported this week that Nevada, obviously the fight's in Las Vegas, the Nevada State Athletic Commission has assigned the officials for your fight. Mark Goddard is the referee. Judges are Mike Bell, Ben Cartledge, Eric Colon. Goddard, of course, he's very experienced in championship fights. He's officiated some of your fights in the past. I know, most of the time you show up and you don't know who's refereeing your fight until you kind of get in there. You've got a little bit of advance. Do you think at all about like, okay, this is the guy who's going to be in the cage with us, or do you just kind of just go with it?
I just looked up his face really quick because I'm really bad with names.
Sure.
But yeah, I just go with it. It doesn't really matter, man. Like, Uh, yeah, I don't, Mark, they're just referees to me. I don't really know the difference in each one of them. I know that in boxing, that's like a big deal. Like the judges are this, we're choosing this judge. We don't want this judge. I know that that's a big deal, but nah, I try not to make it too complicated because my mind will trend toward making things more complicated than they need to be for just because that's how my mind works. But nah, I'm just keeping it simple. Mark's cool with me, so.
There you go. There you go. And I wanted to ask you too. You are an Airs athlete. I watched a video of you on their website discussing the brain scan you did for their product. And this is going to be kind of a random question first, but
Okay.
I noticed on your laptop you were using it's a yellow laptop. There was nothing else on it except the big Ninja Turtle sticker. Are you a big Ninja Turtles fan?
Yeah, I am. I obviously I grew up watching the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I really liked Mutant Mayhem. Their last movie that they put out was like so cool to me. And I love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So the sticker says, I'm trying not to look at it right now, but it says,
Mhm.
forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza.
That is true. That is true. I just took my kids to see that movie. They put it out in theaters again, so that was cool.
Nice.
But I wanted to ask you again, of course, about airs. How do you use? I watched the video. How do you use airs in your daily life?
Yeah, so I have it on my phone, I have it on my laptop. I usually wear my necklace. And yeah, I like it. The brain scan stuff was really cool. The doc kind of went over how my brain is and which hemispheres are turned on and which aren't. And they had me do a test, kind of a reaction test, wearing an Aries and then not wearing an Aries after holding a phone close to your face and all of that stuff. And my reactions were much better on the test where I was wearing the Aries, and so that was pretty unique. Um, it makes total sense to me, like if everyone wants to get, I mean, like natural ways of living are kind of like like gold standard for being healthy, I think, kind of in today's world. It's like, okay, well, what's natural? That's probably healthier. And when you think about like the all of the stuff that's just flying through the air, like electric stuff, like we didn't used to have electricity, like that's very unnatural to our bodies and stuff. And so the fact that they have come up with a product that is able to help with that is really, really cool to me because it kind of brings us back to this like nature way of living, which is cool.
Do you also kind of focus on like clean eating and that kind of thing as well? Are these the type of things that are important to you?
As what, say that
Just in
again?
general, just like eating, like organic food and like clean eating and that kind of thing. Is that just alternate from this? Is that just a priority for you when it comes to like the food you eat and that kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely. I have like a very sensitive body to like foods. I think it's just because I eat healthy most of the time. So when I eat unhealthy at all, it just turns into an inflammation horror story in my body. So I don't eat a ton of sugar and stuff like that. I'm not like I'm not like a nun though or a freak, like I'm not gonna go overboard and uh, I'll eat whatever if I'm hungry, but I try not to. And I'll definitely say this, as far as foods go, I do eat pretty good, but I'll never eat organic peanut butter. I think that normal Jif peanut butter, whatever the hell they put in it, I don't care if it's fake or not fake, it tastes 1,000 times better than the organic stuff. So I'll give myself some leeway in some areas.
Please tell my wife that she buys that one for the kids, and I gotta eat. I eat the Jif. I just do. I'm like you, dude.
So good. So much
Listen,
better.
one last question I had for you, and obviously this is kind of a big picture thing as regard to the sport. You're a fan from going way back. We've chatted before about how in your teens you used to watch WEC. That's where the guys your size used to fight. UFC is now shifting in the coming year from ESPN to CBS and Paramount. The pay-per-view model as we know it seems to be on its way out. Maybe this is an answer. I'm gonna ask you sort of like a two-ended question, but maybe it's the same. As a fan of MMA, but also as a fighter yourself, how do you feel about the shift away from pay-per-view?
I'm pumped about it. I like that I don't have to pay for the pay-per-views anymore, or I don't have to go to a buddy's house because those suckers were kind of expensive. I like that I don't have to do that. I think it's definitely going to change some stuff though. Just like I know personally, I'm not gonna go to like a friend's house and watch all of the fights too much anymore. Like I'm just gonna do it from home, which is how I prefer to watch fights. But just splitting money's easier and it's a little bit more. Sometimes it's fun just to go to a friend's house. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really curious to see how all of that changes stuff. Just kind of psychologically even with the UFC. Like I wonder how. I know, yeah, but the UFC are go-getters, but I just wonder how much like emphasis is going to be put on promoting stuff anymore, not on the UFC end, but maybe even on some of the fighters' ends, stuff like that, where it's like, well, if you're guaranteed a certain amount of money, I don't really, I just am curious to see how that psychologically maybe changes some stuff for some of the fighters and stuff. So,
Like
but
pay-per-view
yeah,
points,
I
is
mean,
that
I'm
kind of the thing
excited.
you're thinking of?
I'm sorry.
Like pay-per-view points, is that like the kind of thing? Because obviously there's certain fighters that have point champions tend to have points. This is something that you've been working for all this time that you're about to get, and you may not have that opportunity to have that. Is that sort of what you're talking about?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if all of the fights are free and there's no pay-per-view points or anything like that, yeah, I'm really curious just to see what happens with some of the psychology of some of the fighters and stuff, to like quote unquote sell a fight or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be really interesting. I'm excited about it though because it's a lot cheaper for everyone. Like everyone that I've talked to is like, God, thank God we don't have to pay like pay-per-views anymore and this and that. So. I think it's cool that the UFC gets to make a lot more money too, and I'm sure that once things start to come in, I'm sure that it'll start trickling down to us a little bit too. So, yeah, I'm excited for all of that.